There are 5 habits that will help make you rich. And I've implemented all 5 of these habits to make tons and tons of money. Like, I'm super rich. I'm gonna show you how to get it too. I promise, if you implement these 5 habits, you too can be rich, even if you a nigga now. And the last one might be the most important one. Make sure you stick around. If your doesn't have the discipline to watch a 10-minute YouTube video, then maybe success ain't for you, right? Everybody can't get rich. There's not enough money for everyone to get rich, and maybe you'll be one of the people who can't. The average American has less than $1,000 in their bank account. You'll probably just end up being one of them forever if you can't watch a video. That's cool. Somebody got the ugly bitches and the fat. You can be one of them. Big girls need love too, and you can love them. If you decide not to watch this video and implement these 5 rules, you won't have no choice. You're gonna be fat, mating with them, having fat offspring. Your kids gonna get teased because they got a big fat mama. Then they gonna have all types of issues because they getting bullied at school. People's telling mama jokes to them. Your mama's so fat, her dress size is equator. Shit like that. And then that's gonna give them a whole bunch of issues, and they gonna grow up to be failures too. All because your ass couldn't sit still for 10 minutes and watch a video. Matter of fact, if you a bitch, you soft, you a punks, don't watch this video because it's gonna be intense. Get the fuck out of here, loser. All right. Now that all the fucking losers and dorks are gone, let's talk about the 5 habits to help you get rich. Number 1, this habit is something that I've been implementing since I was in my 20s, and I'm 42 now. Invest 50% of your income. This is very important. My father told me this when I was real young in high school. He said, every dollar you get, save half of it. And I was like, yo, Dad, is that what you do? And he said, nah, I'm telling you because I fucked up so much money. And I didn't want to end up like him because my dad ended up losing all this money and killed himself when I was in my early 20s. Committed suicide. So that further ingrained in my head, hey, I better fucking save half my money. So this is what you do. You save half your money. Most of you are living check to check, living hand to mouth. And you're probably thinking, oh man, make enough money to save half it. You got to start making more, right? You got to increase the income. And we're going to talk about that in the next step. But for now, just understand you need to increase your income. Probably got to double it. And here's the thing. Any of you can double your income right now. You can just start working more. I know it sounds crazy, but you can actually work more. So the average American, according to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, works about 38 hours per week. I suggest you work 80 hours a week. Now you may be thinking, man, I can't do that. I got 15 kids and a bunch of baby mamas and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, maybe you can't, man. Maybe success ain't for you, right? I ain't tell you to have all them kids. Don't blame me. And don't blame your kids for your inadequacies. I hope your kids never hear about you blaming your failures on them. That ain't man shit. That's hoe shit. Assuming you ain't got 30 kids, you're gonna start working 80 hours a week. And you can do that. There's 168 hours in every week. If you sleep 8 hours a night, that's 56 hours per week, right? So now we're left with 112 hours. If you work 80 of those hours, that leaves you with 32 hours. You got 32 hours left. And with those 32 hours, you can spend time with your family, spend time with your bitch, spend time with your kids, do whatever you need to do. Shit, shower, shave. Every time I say this, man, what about showering? It's like, yo, man, you shouldn't be spending this much time in the fucking bathroom. If you spending fucking 30 plus hours a week in the bathroom, you got problems that are well beyond the scope of anything a YouTube video can solve. So you still got 32 hours a week to do whatever you want. Spend time with your family. If you got kids, if they're not babies, you ain't got 40 hours a week to spend with your kids. If you got like grown kids, your kids don't want to be with you 40 hours a week. They got other shit going on. Young kids have to sleep like 10 hours a night. They got school, after school programs, their own friends, Roblox, and all types of other shit they'd rather be doing than kicking it with your broke ass for 40 hours a week. Spend 20 hours a week with them kids, man. That's more than enough, or more, whatever you want to, right? But 80 hours a week working. So that might mean you have to get a second job if you got a job. That might mean start a side hustle, start a side business. Fucking just drive Uber after work. As soon as you get out of work, turn on that Uber app, start driving around the city, picking people up, dropping them off. I wish there was Uber around when I was struggling because I had to work labor. I was working 80 hours a week during the recession of 2008. And I went to college, right? But no, there was no fucking jobs available. We had record unemployment. So I started waking up at 4 a.m., training people in the morning. Then I showered at the gym, took the train down to Soho, worked security at the Prada store for 8 hours. Then after that, I worked for my boy's moving company, right? That was 5 days a week. And on the weekends, I trained people in the morning. Then I managed a restaurant in Queens on Steinway Street, barbecue restaurant. And this was 12, 14 hours work days per day. I did that for 2 years. And guess what? At the end of those 2 years, I wasn't broke. I made over $100,000 each of those years working bullshit jobs because I couldn't get a good job at the time. Now, here's the thing. The average American makes about $50,000 a year, and they work about 38 hours a week. If you double that, it stands to reason you should be able to double your income, or at least come close. That's what we're gonna do. You're gonna invest 50% of your income. Let me just show you something. Here's an Uber driver who made fucking $100,000 a year working what? A little bit over 80 hours a week, and he made over 100K a year. It's the easiest job in the world. You just fucking drive around picking people up, dropping them off. That's it. Stop telling people they can't do it. It's right here. And then people say, what about you, the wear and tear in your car? Motherfucker, you ain't driving around a fucking expensive car to do Uber, bro. You ain't gonna be spending all this money on repairing your car. You have plenty. And then you can write that shit off. You can, if you're using your car for work, you can write it off. It's a tax write-off, right? If you're using it for work. Gas is a tax write-off if you're using it for work. You know what I'm saying? Parking is a tax write-off. If you're driving Uber, you're an independent contractor. And all these expenses you guys keep crying about are fucking tax write-offs now. What does the tax write-off mean? It's money you would have had to pay in taxes, but now you don't have to pay it in taxes. Because if you don't spend it on repairing your car and gas, you got to give it to the government to pay for my Section 8 tenants' rent. And if you hate Uber, do something else, man. This ain't the only game in town. Get a fucking regular job. Work construction. Work for a moving company. They always hiring. And they pay, man. And you get tips. It's way more difficult than sitting in your car driving people around while you listen to reggaeton. But, you know, it works. All right, you're going to save 50% of your income and you're going to invest it. This is how you get rich, because you don't get rich just by saving money. You get rich by investing. If you invest it in the most basic thing, which is like an S&P 500 index fund, something like VOO, it's the most basic investment. The S&P 500 has an average annual return of about 10%. If you invest $2,000 in there every month, after 20 years, you'd have $1.3 million. And then somebody wants to say, inflation. Listen, if inflation skyrockets, you know what else gets more expensive? Assets. That's why you want to buy assets. If you notice, when inflation goes up, stocks go up. Inflation makes assets worth more. You don't think they can stop inflation if they wanted to? They don't want to, because rich people own assets. When inflation goes up, us motherfuckers with assets, our net worth goes up. It affects you because you got to pay more for milk. I don't even know how much milk costs. I don't want to know. I don't give a fuck. It ain't enough for me to care. But y'all worried about, oh man, gas prices and milk. When you rich, you don't worry about that shit. You excited about inflation because it makes your assets go up. And now you can either sell them for more money or you can borrow against them because loans are tax-free. This is why rich people refinancing their homes, like Jay-Z and Beyonce, they fucking billionaires. They just refinanced their $300 million mansion in LA. Why do you think they did that? Because instead of taking salaries, they can just refinance their shit. Get a loan, which is tax-free. You gotta start playing a different game. And that's why I say invest. And you may be thinking, I don't want to wait 20 years to be a millionaire. That's why I said invest half of your income. If you're working 80 hours a week, half your income is gonna be way more than $2,000. And you're gonna invest that every month, right? And that's how you're gonna get rich. You're gonna invest it in the assets. The next habit that'll help you get rich is master a high income skill. Because you don't wanna just be driving Uber and working for moving companies forever. You wanna master a high income skill, at least one. And then you can start mastering another one. See, what I did was, when I was working on those jobs, I worked on some high income skills because I was a good personal trainer, but I didn't have real high income skills except for sales. Sales was my first high income skill. Then I stacked that with web design. Like back in the day when I first started my online fitness business, we didn't have schools and WAP and ClickFunnels and all that shit. If you wanted to make a website, you had to fucking use HTML. So I had to teach myself HTML to build my first landing page for my website to be an online trainer. You don't need a website now, but back then you did, right? Because Instagram didn't exist back then. So that was my first high income skill, web design. Then I had to start marketing myself with video editing. At the time, it was only Facebook and YouTube. I had to teach myself how to edit videos. So that was another high income skill. Then I had to learn paid ads. That was another high income skill, right? So I started stacking these high income skills. And every time I learned a new high income skill, I started making more money. So some of the high income skills that I recommend you guys start working on is one, high ticket sales. If you know high ticket sales, you'll never go broke. Coding, and it's never been easier to code now. Right? I had to learn HTML and a little bit of JavaScript. Now you can vibe code shit. Claude Code, Lovable, ChatGPT, all this shit will write code for you. It ain't perfect yet. That should be having mad bugs. but it's easier now. It assists. It can write basic code. You still learning some coding is still helpful right now. Copywriting was another skill I had to master. Once I learned that, I started making even more money. Copywriting is basically writing promotional content that gets people to take action, whether buy something or register for something. Writing sales material is a skill. Project management is another high income skill. If you learn that, a lot of companies will pay for people to manage projects. It's in the name, right? Manage projects, manage people. Funnel building. You can build funnels for yourself, for other people. Building sales funnels is another high income skill. Running ads. Some of my friends who make the most money, they run ads for other people. This is running ads on the Meta platforms, Instagram, Facebook, or the Google platforms with running Google ads or YouTube ads, TikTok ads, ads on X. If you know how to run ads, not only can you make money for yourself or whatever business you have, but people will pay you to run ads for them. You can become an AI specialist. This is a new emerging field. It entails, learning prompt engineering, learning AI automations, learning how to deploy and utilize large language models and machine learning. Another high income skill is full stack software engineering. Come up with an idea for some sort of application, a web app or iOS app or an Android app, something like that, and be able to develop it from idea to launch. Like that's what I say, full stack. And fucking AI makes that shit so much easier because now you can use ChatGPT or Claude Code or Lovable to come up with your front end, but a full stack software engineer knows how to integrate that into a good back end. It just makes it so much easier because you can prompt your front end, but your back end, pause. You got to learn how to work the back end, pause. I like it like that. She working that back. I don't know how to act slow motion for me. Video editing. Video editing is another high income skill. I pay Nima fucking shitload of money, man. I don't even want to say it no much, man, because the motherfuckers might try to rob him again. They know how much fucking bread he got. This is American dream, man. Nima immigrated to America from Iran, of all places. I didn't even know we was letting motherfuckers in from there. Somehow he figured it out. He came here with a high income skill. Now he getting paid, man. Or coaching. Coaching still makes money because people need coaching, right? AI can't replace a good coach. AI can't keep you accountable. I've helped make people a lot of money teaching them how to grow their online fitness business, right? But you can do fitness coaching. You can do AI coaching. You can do coaching to anything. But I focus on fitness coaching. That was my thing, online training. And now I teach other people how to do online training. And I got a free ebook. The link is in the description. It's called The 10 Commandments of Online Training. It'll show you exactly how to build and grow your online fitness business, even if you don't have a lot of experience, even if you're not certified, even if you have a small following. Like, this book will really break it down for you. So boom, you got to master one of those high income skills. And then once you get one, then you can stack it on top of each other. When you start stacking high income skills, that's where the real fucking magic happens. Because that's what I did. My first one was building websites. Then it was video editing. Then it was buying ads, building funnels, right? I started stacking these high income skills. And every time I learned a new one, I was able to increase my income. The third habit to help you get some of this motherfucking money is to buy or build income producing assets. Because remember the first step, I said you're going to invest half your income. What are you going to invest in? The three things: real estate, crypto, and stocks. I'll lump those together, and your own business. When I first started, I was investing all my money into my own business. It wasn't as easy then as it is now. Back then, you need a lot of startup costs to start your own online business. Now you can do it with almost no startup costs. That's why I like coaching so much as a business, because out of all the high income skills, it has the lowest barrier of entry and the least amount of startup costs or overhead. You want to build or buy income producing assets. When you're building it, it'll be your own business. Buying it is like buying stock, especially a stock with a dividend, or real estate that pumps out money every month. And here's the beauty of this. What you want to do is you don't want to increase your standard of living with money that you worked for. You increase your lifestyle with money that comes from your assets. I've been on the internet for like 15 years, right? The first video on this YouTube page was published like 13 years ago. And if you watch all the videos from the first 10 years, I ain't flexing at all, man. I'm wearing regular shit, some Jordan joggers, and an Apple Watch for like a decade. That's because I was spending all my money on assets, either putting it into my business or putting it into stocks and stuff, right? And then I got to the point where the money from the assets allowed me to start flexing. The assets started producing enough money, man. I started buying, Rolexes. I started buying APs, Richard Milles, diamond bracelets, diamond chains. Boom, moved into a new place. Moved from Queens to the Upper West Side, 72nd and Broadway, right? With the money off the assets. Then kept fucking stacking assets. The assets kept pumping out money. Then I moved to the penthouse Sky Palace in Miami. I didn't increase my lifestyle with money I worked for. Even my son, I ain't even have kids until the money from the assets pay for the kid, pay for the private school, pay for the Pampers, pay for the Legos, pay for the Paw Patrol bullshit. Like, don't increase your lifestyle at all. Don't have no kids. Don't buy no drip. Don't get a new car until your assets can pay for that shit. Does that make sense? I hope you guys are getting this. Remember, there's 3 things. For me, I started with my business. Now that's the riskiest one. It has the highest upside, right? Because the amount of money you can make is pretty much infinite, right? From your own business, if it succeeds. But businesses have a high failure rate. 80% of businesses fail. That's almost all of them. Your first business, the one you should pick, should be something with low overhead and low startup costs because it's high risk. You don't want to pour all your fucking money into some widget or gadget. Right? If you got an idea for a gadget, man, say that shit. Put that shit to the side. Start something like online coaching, no startup costs, no overhead. So it's hard to fail if your shit has no overhead and no startup costs. It's hard to fail at that business, right? Businesses fail because they run out of money to sustain themselves. But if you have low overhead, it's hard to run out of money to sustain itself. But you can do something else, right? You can do anything. As a first business, you want to pick something with low overhead, low startup costs. Because you got to learn business. You got to learn a bunch of business shit, right? You don't want to pick the hardest shit for your first business. That'd be like going into the gym and be like, what is this, a weight? Yeah, man, put 300 pounds on that barbell. The first time you enter a gym, it's like, nah, you want to start with the bar, see how much you can put on it. If you can put, and then once you get stronger, you put more weight on it. All right, so start with something low overhead. Video editing is low overhead, right? You just need a computer and a camera. You don't even need the camera if you're just editing. And then Nima, he's a full stack video guy. He's filmed the shit and edited this shit, but maybe you can just start editing. Pay a little more to film it. The 4th thing you need to do to start getting some of this real motherfucking money, some of this real bread, is upgrade your environment. This one is less tactical than the other steps, but it's very important. There's a long-term study that showed that people who were rich friends were far more likely to become rich themselves. There's a study done, man. So it's called Social Capital Measurements and Associations with Economic Mobility. Motion, nigga. You can get some motion. You got to be around motherfuckers who got motion. It's in the title. I ain't gonna read this whole shit for you, man, but you can Google it, bitch. And then, guess what? They had a part 2 of that shit to further emphasize their points. Boom. Social Capital 2, Determinants of Economics Connectiveness, right? The first one was on motion. It's about connections. And let me tell you why that's important. There's a few reasons. One, you become like the people you're around, whether you want to or not, involuntarily. You weren't born with that accent. People around you who talk like that, as a result, you talk like that. Most of you guys, you didn't pick your accent. Most of you guys didn't pick your religion, right? It was just the religion of the people around you. If you was born 3,000 years ago in Egypt, you'd be worshiping Ra, the sun god, right? If you were born thousands of years ago in Greece, when you was on the water, you'd be worshiping Poseidon. People become like the people they're around involuntarily. But it's more than that. Like, there's studies that show this, right? So there's things that happen when you're around rich people. They're privy to information that you may not be privy to, that you may not know. But I had a friend who knew some people at a big company, and he told me about some shit, right? And if I wanted to, I could have invested in that company before it happened and then watched the stock skyrocket. But I'm not saying that's what I did. That's insider trading. I'm just saying if I wanted to, because I knew that stuff, I could have made a lot of profit on that. You get different opportunities. Your network is your net worth, right? You can get introduced to different people who have different shit going on. It just puts you in a different zone, right? And you just get exposure to different opportunities. Like when my fat friends start hanging out with me, they become leaner. This is Obesity and Contagious is for Harvard, right? This is a study that showed in the New England Journal of Medicine, which is one of my favorite journals of medicine, not the old English journal, the New England. But anyway, it showed that if one of your friends becomes obese, you have a 40% chance of becoming obese yourself, of gaining weight yourself. It gets deeper than that. Let's say Nima has a friend, a motherfucker I don't even know, who becomes obese. According to the study, I have a 20% chance of gaining weight myself. Like, we're all connected. in a strange way, like it's different vibrations. Here's another study showing that when your friend gets divorced, you have a 75% chance of getting divorced as well. Divorce is contagious. It's a study done in the peer research review, right? Everything's contagious, including getting this motherfucking money. And the fifth habit to help you get rich, a lot of you saw this coming if you've been watching my content for any time, start planning every hour of every day in your calendar. This is the cheat code to life. If you take one thing from me, let it be this. I promise, if you do this for 1 week, it'll be the most productive week of your life. And if you start stacking weeks like that on top of each other, you do that for a month, it's gonna be the most productive month in your life. You do it for 3 months in a row, 90 days, you'll look like a different person. You can change your whole life in 90 days if you start planning every hour of every day, right? And you start doing that for years, then you me, rich, handsome, and courageous. This is my calendar. Look at it. Every hour every day, this is the month of you, right? But every hour every day is planned and it's choreographed, right? So I know what time I'm gonna go to sleep. I know what time I'm gonna eat lunch. I know what time I'm gonna fuck my girlfriend. You gotta plan it, man. And another beautiful thing about planning every hour of every day is you'll accidentally get rid of almost all your bad habits. When I stopped smoking weed and drinking, it wasn't even a conscious decision. That shit just wasn't in my calendar. So I never got around to it. It had been like a year and I hadn't smoked or drink. I said, I might as well just quit doing this. I got rid of bad habits without even trying. When you sit around with an open calendar and all the time in the world, then you have to deliberately try not to engage in bad habits. You got to try not to drink. You got to try not to get high. You gotta try not to goon. Motherfuckers be like, no fat, man, making a big deal about not jacking off. It's like, motherfucking, you shouldn't have time to be touching yourself all the time. You should be so busy attacking your goals that you ain't got gooning time. If you gotta do no fat, then you're not trying hard enough to accomplish your goals. Everyone who has to try to quit drinking, everyone who has to try to quit smoking weed, and try to quit touching themselves does not plan every hour of the day in your calendar, because their calendar would be full of shit that'll help them accomplish their goals. And it doesn't even have to just be shit that help you accomplish your goals. Like I put time with my girlfriend in there. I put time with my son in there, right? I put time with my family in the calendar. It's all choreographed. Nothing happens on accident. And when people try to do this, sometimes they struggle because things don't go exactly to plan, but I'm totally cool with moving stuff around in my calendar. Like I'll do it all day. I'll move stuff around, change stuff, because the day starts off as a game plan, but I'm willing to call an audible at the line of scrimmage. That was an American football reference. Some of you foreigners don't know what the fuck I just said. I'm willing to throw the red card at the goalie when I do the bicycle kick. I'll switch it up at any moment, right? It starts off as a game plan, but I'm still planning every hour of every day. I might change the plan, but I'm planning every hour of every day, including my recreation. If I'm sitting courtside at a Heat game, that's in my calendar. All my friends at a high level, you might think this is crazy, but my friends at a high level, they do this. I had my boy Jeremy. He makes like $1 million a month. I hit him up. I was like, yo, man, let's take the girls to dinner. Like his girlfriend, my girlfriend, they friends. And he said, when you want to go? I said, yo, fucking Thursday. He said, 7 cool. I was like, yeah. He hits me with a calendar invite, a Google Calendar invite. That's what happens at the high level, man. You guys ain't experienced it because you ain't got no rich friends. Go see step number 4 and you'll see what happens, right? That's another reason why step number 4, right, is so important, because you want to start operating at a high level. You do these things for any amount of time, your whole life will change. 5 habits, make them non-negotiable. There's no way you can lose, bro. How could you lose if you invest 50% of your income? Develop high income skills. Start building or buying income producing assets, so your money's making money while you're making money. If you upgrade your environment, you start getting around ballers, shot callers, and you plan out every hour of every day, there's no way you could lose. Matter of fact, now that I've finished making this video, I think this is the best video on this topic. I don't think anyone's ever made a better video than this, except for this other video you should watch right now that I made. It's probably pretty good too. Also, if you think online training will help you accomplish your goals and get rich, like my 15,000 other students, I got a free ebook called The 10 Commandments of Online Training. Download that book right now.